What is up, RotoGrinders? Happy Friday. Right now, let's start a 2+ hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation. Big boy slate, not messing around. It is a 12-gamer, 12 games for baseball tonight. Talk a little bit of football pre-show, a little bit of football last night, or whatever the Patriots were attempting to do. Kirkwood's Patriots. Kirkwood, happy Friday. How are things in your world? Everything decent enough?
I'm exhausted, man. Truthfully, but things are good. I won last night on the Jets, so I pounded them every single which way. Did some single game parlays that all hit, so lost a little bit with Ramondre, but he got hurt, so whatever. But it was good, and now ready.
I think he's fine, by the way. It was a pinky, right? I think he's supposedly.
I know he came back in, but he was like out for like a lot of the third quarter, a couple drives.
I saw people were tweeting at DraftKings and FanDuel they wanted a refund because
I was right there with them. I was going one time.
You got your burners out. You won't do it in your real account, unless you're being like you're joking around.
I'm joking around, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I would have loved it.
Yeah, for sure. The Patriots scored the exact amount of points as Ohtani hit homers yesterday. Ohtani had one of the greatest baseball games of all time, kind of sort of somewhat aided by, hitting one of those homers off a shortstop or a second baseman, whatever it was. But, just spectacular fashion, joining the 50-50 club, creating the 50-50 club. Shout out to Shohei Ohtani, just amazing stuff. And good job for Miami showing up. They kind of, Miami, they get some crap, but they're showing up for the Dodgers. They're showing up for Ohtani. They knew that it would be a show for sure.
No, it was great that they allowed it. They didn't walk him, and that's how it should be. It's like this guy's on a record season. You try to get him out, and what happens. Like you don't just walk a guy because you don't want to be the guy that gives it up. Plus, you want to be. I would want to be. If I stink, at least give me something that's going to go down in the record books.
I'm trying to think.
I wish I caught that ball though.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of the famous the Bobby Thompson home run, and God, who's the guy he hit the homer against? This is like in the 50s or whatever with the Giants when the Giants win the pennant. Ralph Branca, and like the two of those guys would work like the.
Are you like 70 years old, Dean?
This happened in the 50s, so I did not witness this. I just know.
Are you 80? Are you 80 something?
Have you seen my mustache when I let my hair out? That's for real. Like,
the onion is unraveling here.
Yeah, I'm outing myself as an old. I'll be turning 85 or so, give or take. But yeah, like famously, what I was getting at is that Bobby Thompson, who hit the famous homer off the Dodgers, and the Dodgers lost that series, I think 4-3, and they outscored the Giants, I think by like 25 or something. Am I making it a different series? Maybe it's the Yankee series. I might be confusing my series. Point is that Ralph Branca, he would, him and Bobby Thompson would like go to like baseball card events and sign pictures together. Like, he's famous for serving up a homer, but he made a career out of it. Is kind of the point. Like you said, being famous for something else besides, otherwise having just kind of a random baseball career. It's not the worst thing in the world to be the guy. A lot of people give up homers to Shohei Ohtani. And more will as well. So there's no shame in that.
Did you cash the 50-50? Did you bet on that?
No, I didn't. Did you bet on it?
Plus money, like when we were talking about it like 3 weeks ago, I feel like, or something.
I don't remember if my book offered it. I have the Hard Rock. That's all I have here in Florida. And they tend to not be as adventurous with the things they offer. So maybe I just didn't look at it, didn't look for it, but I felt pretty good. He's been hunting the stolen bases. I felt pretty good he was going to get it several weeks ago. That's like you said, you delay a number. I didn't think it was going to happen 2 months ago. Like I wasn't on it then. And I don't know if there was a line for it, but yeah, it is spectacular. And I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, but
it's real and spectacular.
There you go. Shout out to Seinfeld. I got your reference. Okay. 12 gamer. By the way, we have Tim, TastefulTides. Tim is holding it down. Next, as far as crunch time, he'll be.
And look at him; he's a professional. He's here in the show. He's taking part. He's taking in content. He's already prepared for his show. Like that. I tell you, this guy is a professional.
I don't know if you've been following, but his taters have been on
fire. So I think the night you gave him credit for a tater, I don't know if which one it was, but it was the night when he talked about Corbin Carroll. But what that did, I just want to say thank you, because even though I did not win the Corbin Carroll tater, I saw once I went in to bet Corbin Carroll, I saw the odds on Marte, and I was like, oh my God, give me this. And I smashed it and I hit it, and it was first at bat, and it was nice. So I thank you for that. I don't know if you gave Marte 2 in addition or not, but regardless, it helped me win. And then I smashed Brendan Donovan the other night at 8:30, which I couldn't believe.
Yeah,
against Woodford.
Nicely done.
I'm hot. I'm heating up on home run.
I want to give Dean some credit too. He's being modest. He went 3 for 3 last night on his Dean Stongs. All three.
There it is.
No,
he knew you were. He said he played you like a fiddle.
I played that perfectly. I played that perfectly.
You knew he was coming.
The only reason why producer Steve is chiming in and giving me the credit, and I didn't do anything. But the only reason why he's doing that, why do you think? Those are the names on the board.
The Metsies.
All Mets.
Right
now.
All by the third inning too, I believe.
It was over. It was a very quick TKO. And that's not happening again this year. Just so y'all know, that's not happening again. It might happen next year, maybe next year, but this year, only a couple more shows, whatever it is, not a couple more, a week left and change. But I hope you got it there and enjoyed it. Myself and Squirrel, both of us were talking about the Mets. I did not parlay them. Tim is asking me. Sometimes I've just been dabbling in a couple parlay homers. I don't really do it very often, but
I was gonna be. I was gonna retire. I was gonna retire the other night if Alec Burleson hit one.
Did you have like a 5-homer parlay or something goofy?
I had a nice chunk on really high odds, and after with Donovan and the St. Louis run line, but didn't happen for me.
That means you're here.
Gutless.
If it did happen,
gutless.
you wouldn't.
Al Burleson is a gutless loser, absolute loser.
For not homering? You understand they're not supposed to homer, right? Like that's not supposed to happen. It's hard to do. Hitting a baseball like 400 feet in the right spot too. Like even if you're a dead center, sometimes it doesn't work, and it's coming in 100 miles an hour. Sometimes it's breaking at a massive degree. It's difficult. It's difficult to do. Ohtani makes it look easy though. All right, 12 gamer tonight. Like I said, Cheeseisgood, Dave Potts coming in later, as well as Taylor Smith. Tim will be hosting. Ross Weather Edge tool is free. I did drop that in chat for the people. Scroll up. I'll go ahead and drop it again. Weather Edge is free for the people. It's free Friday, freebie Friday. That is what we're giving away. The Weather Edge tool. Feel free to give that a look. Use it at your own leisure. Try to see what is really popping today. Cincinnati, it's hot. We don't really care about that as far as our slate. We have the fire emoji in KC. What's interesting is there's a fire emoji, but 104 previous games and homers are actually down a tick. Runs basically neutral. It's going to be hot though in Kansas City, hot in St. Louis as well. And another one where it's hot in St. Louis, but still 165 game sample, and it's essentially neutral, which is sort of strange. Barely getting wind. A little bit is going out to the left center. All right, there you go. Slight hit in homers as far as LA. It's going to be cold there tonight. 66 out in Los Angeles.
We're back. Okay. We're back. We've got my boy Ecom in chat saying Kirkwood spread the kids' college fund over Royals home run tonight. He'll be moving to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah,
I like the sound of that. I'm in. Let's go.
Well, Kansas City is going to be popular tonight. One of the more popular teams taking on San Fran. No Fitzgerald for San Fran, by the way. That lineup dropped just before the show started. One of their better hitters taking a seat. Fire emoji. It's going to be hot. Slight wind coming in from right field, right center, 86. But again, just a hit of 6.7% with homers at a 104 game sample, which is a pretty big sample. It's a pretty big sample. But we will talk about that as far as the stacks. We'll put those on layaway. Actually, you know what? Give me the big picture, the screenshot as far as the slate, because to me, it is all sorts of wide open. I know myself, yourself, Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood. We did rank our 5 favorite stacks. We have 6 teams in total, so we have the same basic teams. I'm the only one that has Houston, for the record. I did not rank Minnesota, which it's not because I don't like them. It's just all congested.
The weather's kind of gross here. It's the only thing I'm starting to worry a little bit. The wind's blowing in now.
Yeah.
It's chilly out. So like if it was yesterday, the dew point was insane. I was getting sick of this weather, man. It was like I'm trying to take my kid to the park. I'm sweating like it's prime August.
Cool off soon, isn't it? I would imagine so.
Yeah, it's cooled off today. So the weather is not very good, not very conducive. So I actually ranked them high, but now I'm lower. I should lower them a little bit. But Dick Fitz is not. I mean, he's okay. Richard Fitz. They call him Dickie Fitz, actually.
Who calls him that?
In his life, he's grown up with that nickname.
Okay.
That's his family. Everyone calls him that. Anyway, he's not a bad pitcher. He's got like a decent arsenal. Was a decent prospect at one time. He projects, but the problem is he projects to be like at best late starter, but more of someone for the bullpen long term. But they're so desperate for arms right now. They're using them. He actually set a record. Did you know this? I don't.
Is this a setup for a bit, or is this a real thing?
No,
I don't know.
He didn't set a record. He hold on, let me pull it up here. I wrote it in 1 second. I wrote it in expert plays. Because I had a couple of Twins bets. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, okay.
You had this whole. You had my
fourth
attention.
pitcher in franchise history to throw 5+ innings and allow 0 earned runs in each of his first 2 MLB outings. Was that not worth the setup right
no.
there?
For starters, it wasn't worth it, and secondly, that's not a record. He's the 4th guy to do it.
Exactly. That's why I backtracked when I said
it's definitely not a record. But good for.
But anyway, he doesn't protect very well, and like they're just cheap, and he also in the minors. He's prone to lefty power, giving up a lot. He's always had to struggle with home runs to left-handed batters, so it might be like a Wallner type night. But I'll side with Royce Lewis for sure as probably my favorite bet. But Wallner and maybe Larnach, but I hate the Larnach pitch hit risk. Wallner they seem to leave in there, but man, he has such a high K rate too. It's tilting, but I think you can play them. I like the Twins. They're like instead of like up at the top tier, they'll probably be in the middle tier now for me, or second. I don't even know what the tiers are.
Well, yeah. I tried to bring you in the conversation, and you did not want to have the conversation.
Well, I'm busy. I'm driving. I'm dropping my kid off. I'm picking my kid up. It's like it's tough.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
so I gave a suggestion, and I
there's a lot of time in the day, Chris.
You want to do something Diddy related?
And I said I said you should probably keep that in your private chat, and then that's it. That's the last I heard from you.
We could have gone for the most. What were the most outrageous parts of the story of the
I haven't dug into it, and I'm sure people want to know more about it.
They're called freak offs. Steve's. They're not pity parties. They're freak offs. In case anyone knows.
I'm sure I'll be hitting the internet and digging in more.
It's insane. It's insanity. You know how much lube they seized from his house?
I don't want.
It's baby oil.
This is why I said we shouldn't do. Yeah.
Puts chop to shame.
Yeah. This is why I thought this was a bad cat. I'm normally open to basically whatever category, but I was like, we should probably leave this one in the leave it in the drafts. We should probably leave that one in the drafts. I did come up with one in the flying. You'll get it when the people get it. All right. As far as overall, we'll talk pitchers here. There's a slew of arms, some good arms. A lot of good pitchers taking the bump tonight. Not a lot of amazing spots from a hitting perspective, as far as I can tell. I kind of look at the bar, like how many teams are over 5 when it comes to team total. Well, 1, the Dodgers against Freeland in LA, still 5.5 total. But otherwise, there's not much else out there. Houston just below 5, Kansas City just below 5, basically right there. But there's not a lot of incredible spots to hit baseballs this evening, as far as picking out pitchers, as far as weather-wise. but it is what it is. We're all looking at the same slate. And arm talent. There's a lot of arm talent on this slate. Some of them in better spots than others, but Garrett Cole, Musgrove, he's got the best spot, of course, against the White Sox. Charlie Morton, not the best arm, but a great spot against the Marlins. Morton, it's an unreliable arm. It's an old arm, if you will. Corbin Burns, he can tell you about Ralph Branca and Bobby Thompson for sure. Corbin Burns taking on Detroit, the surging Detroit Tigers, who have won, 25 of their last 35 games or so, and they're threatening to make a run at a playoff spot. Jacob deGrom is still doing his thing. For how long, we don't know. Maybe 4 or 5 innings or so. We don't necessarily want to pick on him. He looked good in his first game back. Zach Gallen, the K's have been up of late. So he's certainly in play. George Kirby's just a good pitcher, strike thrower, not this incredible strikeout guy. But, you tell me, how are you seeing pitching? Is it clear for you? Ownership-wise, it's kind of condensed. We have Cole at 27%, Musgrove at 25 on DK, then Morton at 19. Like it feels like we're just the field's not really taking a huge stand outside of Cole and Musgrove. That's not even huge, right? 27, 25%. Burns 17, deGrom 13, Gallen 15. Did I miss somebody? I don't think I skipped over anybody. But you tell me, how are you seeing it as far as pitchers? Do you already have your 2 pitchers in mind? Are you making your stacks and kind of running back and say, okay, which 2 fits? How are you building your lineup?
Yeah, so I think so. Unfortunately, I got tagged to do salary savers today, which was very difficult for pitching. So
you found time to do this though?
I did. It was awful. So I had to tag Verlander. So the problem is with these tags, it's like you got to read the actual, the blurb. Because usually when I tag someone, it's like I don't like this play, but I have nobody else to tag, and this is the one of the that's Verlander today.
I pulled yours up. Did you want to read it? Did you want to go ahead and read it for the people?
No.
It's a long blurb. I guess you're giving the summary right now, but yeah, you don't really want to. He looks terrible. He looks as they're saying.
So it's not the same. He's not the same Verlander. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he can, they're still trying to get him going here for the playoffs. They may baby him a little bit, but whatever. But this is a guy with a 4.9 Sierra and an almost 19% K percentage. Like that is not Verlander that we've ever known.
No.
The only thing is it's the matchup with the Angels. So he's been not horrible against right-handed batters. And his problem has been with lefties. But if you look at the Angels lineup, these lefties are just terrible. So
did you see the K's? Have you seen the lineup? Gavetis 38%, Theis 34%, Adams 36%, Jack Lopez 43%. And these are all dudes who shouldn't be in the majors, basically. I know Cavetis is a bit of a prospect, but this lineup is horrific. It's somehow they lost Anthony Rendon and they got worse, I think.
And the guy that I'd be scared of would be Moniak, who's not there.
And there's no Ohapi.
Yeah. It's
Taylor Ward.
It's a great lineup for him. So he should be able to pump out a few extra strikeouts in this one. So he's the cheapest I'd go here today, and I'm not even in love with it. I may decide to go DeGrom and just DeGrom on limited pitches is still probably better than anything Verlander puts up against Seattle, with him against Seattle. But I think it's close. It's a tough decision either way. I love Musgrove. Musgrove has been amazing lately. He's had his new pitch, which has been awesome. His gyro slider, and he's got a whole great strikeout pitch mix. And he's actually I know Dave wrote up an article too and said about since he came off of the IR or whatever, his last 7 starts, something his K rate is 28.5% or something like that. So I love Musgrove. I love him in this spot. And then it's I would consider Verlander or DeGrom, but I'd also, don't mind any of the other top guys like Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns, Gallen, Morton, Waka, maybe Kirby, maybe Chris Sanchez. But, that's it. There's not a lot to love on the pitching side. The hitting side is probably it's all I don't know. The
I don't
slate's
think there's a
weird
lot
for
of
hitting
hitting
too.
today.
There's not a
I don't
lot.
think hitting's a lot.
There's not a
Yeah.
lot of love. I guess you got to side with the pitching and then figure out what you like for bats. But I think Dave made a good point too in the article. I hate to like be on the same side as Cheese because it's so boring, even though it's probably the right side if you're on the same side. Yeah,
It's not a hot take.
yeah. But you know, picking out like 2 or 3 like good one-offs, or like this is like a chop night where he's going to ship because he does his stacking organically, so he ends up with like really good bats in good spots. So I
like that too.
I think that this is the night for that.
Last
Although there's for the bats, there's 2 really bad pitchers who look pretty bad at this point. I mean, Black looks horrendous, and same with Belozo.
Correct.
Bozo.
I don't think it's Bozo. I'm pretty sure it's not. Musgrove last 30 days, 114 batters faced, 30.7% strikeouts, 30.4 against righties, 31 against lefties. Yeah, the K's have seen a bump. We don't have the lineup just yet for Chicago, but you know it's going to be bad. So, Musgrove. I have Musgrove ahead of Cole. It's projections, I think, have a slight lean to Cole, but I have Musgrove ahead of Cole. If you're going to pick between those two, they're essentially the same price. Who's your lean?
My number one, it's just the matchup against the White Sox. My number one is Musgrove with the way he's pitching right now, and then the matchup. I mean, they're just so bad, the White Sox. And sure, they can go off at any time. Like anything happens in baseball on any given night. We've seen them, Benintendi have 2 home run games, but you got to go with the matchup for Musgrove first. And then, and Cole's going to be probably a little bit less owned because of the pitch count against Boston, but it was really just because Boston shellacked them, and and Rafael Devers is his father. So let's see how long Dean will be muted.
Geez, I was coughing and I didn't realize I muted myself. Yes, mute count is at 1. I was saying some spectacular stuff though, like stuff that like
some real spectacular stuff.
It's gonna break the slate. I just gave you the slate breakers. Hopefully you guys are listening in. Hey, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. When we go live. We're gonna talk football. There's a lot of crossover with the old Venn diagram. Sunday, of course, 9:30 in the morning. There's football shows all throughout the week. Week 3, get excited. College football show tomorrow as well if you're in the college football streets. Cole, like you said, got his face punched in. I don't know what the BBP is versus Devers, but I know historically he's not great. And Devers is the kind of guy that gets to him, right? Power lefties.
They walked him with no one on base, like he was Barry Bonds.
But okay, why wouldn't they? Who's behind Devers that like you're afraid of? Trevor Story? I'm trying to.
You can't get. He's not Barry Bonds. Like there's no need to.
No, well, nobody's Bonds. Maybe Otani's Bonds, but nobody's Bonds. Well, they walked Bonds with the bases loaded. Like that's the kind of treatment he got, and it worked, right? If you circle back, you remember when it happened historically, it did work. They were down 2, I believe, and they walked him with the bases loaded, and Giants ended up losing by 1. I think Jeff Kent was behind him. That's the most likely suspect. Yeah, the chat is speculating correctly. There's a lot of old pitchers out there. This is a tough slate for me. I don't like my olds in athletics. You mentioned DeGrom. I'm not sure he's going to get 75 pitches. That's where he's currently projected at. It's about 15 more than his last start, 61. And that's sort of the natural progression. It's just that, why?
How many strikeouts can he get in 65 pitches? Against
what's 60 divided by 3? 20.
They
can get 20, I guess. I mean, I know he's facing Seattle. He certainly can get 6 or 7. He's got to be efficient to get put himself in a position to win. I think I ranked him like 8th or so. He's on the board, but certainly there is a ceiling there. And I'm not picking at him. I'm not playing Seattle. I think Gallen is pretty interesting. As another guy had seen a bump in his strikeouts. Burns is fine, like you said. But do I need him? No. If I'm running 150, is he in the pool? Sure. How about Waka? Does he get a boost with the absence of Fitzgerald for San Francisco, I wanted to see what their lineup looked like. He's not cheap, though, is the thing. I thought Waka, you get like a bit of a discount. Not really. But
well,
he's
coming off a hell of a game against Pitt, although Pitt, everyone does against Pitt lately, with eight strikeouts, 93 pitches. And he's been really good. And people don't, that may be the play because people just generally don't want to play him. And San Francisco is dog water.
26.1% Ks, the starting lineup today. Not a lot of power, 145 ISO collectively. That's not very good. The back half is brutal. Again, they're missing arguably their best hitter. Well, there are two best hitters, right? No Chapman and no Fitzgerald. Those are two best hitters, arguably, maybe. Yaz is good against righties. I'll give him that. He's got some power. He'll strike out too. He's leading off, but it's not Elio Ramos, I think, is much better with lefties, I'm pretty sure. And he strikes out a ton as well.
Chat wants you to give a little rundown on teams still playing for things.
Well, I've talked with this before. It's like almost everything is like settled. I know, jockeying for position and playoff stuff is a thing, which I'm not really locked in on. But Detroit is like the team that's really battling for a spot. Let me go ahead and pull up my chances to make the playoffs. So I think Detroit must be at like 30% or so. I would imagine they're at 43%.
43%.
Because they just keep winning. Yeah, they keep winning. Boston, your team mathematically
Twins are bad. So it's Detroit and Minnesota it's the real battle.
Basically, yeah. There's a tiny chance that Seattle can get there, but it's almost not gonna. It's basically not gonna happen. They have a 4.9% chance. Atlanta's 50-50. The Mets are at 72% right now. The Diamondbacks are at 78%. The Padres are essentially in. The Dodgers are in. The Brewers are in. Now there is like jockeying for buys and division and that kind of stuff, but most teams, it's very uneventful. We already got the Ohtani.
If the Braves don't get in, they're going to be upset that they may have the wrong Acuna.
No, they had a lot of things go wrong for them this year. Obviously a pile of injuries all around. Acuna being the first one you'd think of, but there's still several others. I guess whose spot would they take? I guess they would take the Mets spot. Yeah. The way I'm seeing, so there's like two spots there's two spots for the Mets, the Braves, and the Diamondbacks, basically. That's essentially those three teams are battling for those two spots. Producer Steve, of course, is telling us the Mets have the better Acuna, which is that's a bold proclamation. That is a bold proclamation, sir. All right. Anything else that we should say as far as the pitchers, like Gallons? It's a lot of like guys that are just fine. Alan's asking if the Astros need to win. No, they're in. Are they going to win the division? 98% chance to win the division. So yeah, they're basically gliding in. The Mariners have a shot. They're 5 games behind them. That's not going to happen unless something really, really goofy happens. Seems pretty unlikely. And did we mention the White Sox? They're 52.5 games out, so that's not going to happen. I don't know if you're holding out hope for Chicago. Currently, 36.
Get those White Sox futures.
36 and 117. By the way, you know how the books, like, I don't know, my book, like the way it kind of offers, like someone's like they'll try to offer you like to buy you out of your ticket. I had a future on, can't remember who it was. I think I might have in Seattle. Maybe it was in Texas. A team that was basically done, right? I had a future on them. But because they still had a lineup in the book that they wanted people to bet on it, even though basically there's no chance of it. They offered me a buyout, which was like 95% of my ticket for a ticket that's dead. So I was like, oh, okay, I will take this.
95%? That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, because their line was bad, and I think they were using their bad line to buy me out.
You're a sharp, Shackleton. This is how you get limited. You're not going to be lasting too long over there.
I just saw it. I'm like, why are they offering to buy this ticket from me?
I did on Caesars. My only cash out of all time. I may have done like one other one, but the best one. I had a big bet in a Sixers basketball game, and I forgot who they were playing, but they were up like 14 with like 4 minutes, and they were -6, and it offered me just 4 pennies to cash out. My cash out was 4 pennies on like a big, like a couple $1,000.
How
And
insulting.
I took it immediately, and then they didn't cover. They lost. They lost they ended up winning by 4 points. It was crazy. And then they didn't allow me. They don't allow me to cash out anymore. Like I'm like, oh no, I can't cash out. Yeah, I can't make bad expected value plays.
Will the White Sox win 4 games? Is a good question being proposed in chat. That means they're going to win 3 of what, 10 or so? I don't know, man. Do we have the official? What's the fewest amount of games won in a 162 game season? Probably around 40. Yeah, it can't be that many. But they're probably. I know they were on pace for being the worst team ever about a month ago or so. I'm not sure if they picked it. They had a 3-game winning streak though, which really killed any dreams they had on that. Now that would have been an actual record. I think they actually had a chance for an actual record. More lineups coming on through. Let's see what we got.
Do we know who's like the long man for Detroit tonight? Do we have one?
Yeah, so we have I think it's 2 guys with similar sounding names. Tyler Holton and Herter are that's the expected arms there. HURTER. But I don't think we're playing either of these guys. I'm not sure if you're thinking about. They're both lefties for what it's worth. So they're not even stacking. They're not going left, right, or right, left. But Detroit is going to do whatever they can to win this game. Every game to them is basically a playoff game.
They're kind of a fun. They're kind of a fun team when they're hitting. Like, the problem is they strike out a lot too. But they have like they're pretty fun. And Scooball is electric. Scooball is absolutely electric.
Yeah. I mean, he's your Cy Young winner. Like I said, all the awards are already determined. That's over, right? Ohtani, Judge, Scooball, and Sale. Like that's it. I guess the Rookie of the Year stuff. I think that's determined too, right? I think it's Merrill is the Rookie of the Year for the National League. Fairly certain. The Mets won 40 games in 1962. But that was the 154. Now we're at 62, so it's going to change things. It's not going to be Skeens. I don't think it's going to be Skeens. Captain America is saying Skeens. I'm pretty sure it's not, at least according to the sports books. Pull up. I'm curious what the number is now. Actually, I can just go to Scores and Odds and see what it says.
The play would be Herter, right?
Why do you want to play either one of these guys? I don't understand.
I don't know. Just get a little crazy.
You're talking about in DFS or for something else?
Yeah, DFS.
Why would you play
71 pitches against the Orioles? He's got some decent stats.
Okay, but it's not that he's 4K.
What is he? Oh, how much? What is he?
I think he's like 7K.
All right, I didn't check pricing. My bad. Hand up.
The pricing does matter. Okay, so American League Rookie of the Year
is
actually pretty close.
Dylan screaming right now?
I do.
Okay, I got.
He's fired up. 2 Yankees are Luis Heel and Austin Wells are competing. Looks like it's going to be Heel in the American League. That's the favorite as of right now, but that could change. And then actually National League is Jackson Merrill is what -240 favorite. Skeens has a shot. He's currently +180. So there's a chance, but I don't know how much they're going to let him pitch the rest of the way. We'll see. I think he's scheduled for tomorrow. Pretty sure. But we care about today and today only in DFS. Lord King Guru is saying Imanaga. Imanaga is like 2,000 to 1 or 200 to 1. So if you like Imanaga, I mean, that feels like a dead ticket. But there you go. If you know somebody that's got the inside information, it's unlikely to be Imanaga. It's a 2-man race. It's Jackson Merrill and Paul Skeens. Chirios, 40 to 1 as well. I thought he'd be a little bit closer. But all right. Anything else you want to say as far as pitching, or shall we talk about stacks?
Talk about stacks. We're just gonna put everybody in the same tier. That's what we're gonna end up doing. I'm predicting.
Well, I mean, we'll figure it out as we go. But and did you have a final thought as far as pitchers before we do that?
Musgrove, number 1, and then
Yeah.
however you want to make fit. Like I would be interested a little bit in like David Festa, but he's too expensive and he's been bad. But like I believe in his stuff. But that weather, like the weather now in Boston is starting to pique my interest a little bit.
Yeah, good Ks out of Festa, 28.1%. He's got the second biggest K rate on the slate in a small sample. And the first biggest K rate by far, we didn't even talk about Garrett Crochet, because the White Sox, we made fun of their team. They're just, I don't even know why is he pitching?
You're getting 50 pitches.
What is the upside of him throwing 3 or 4 innings today? Like, please tell me. I have no idea. Doesn't make it. There's nothing good can come of it. It's very, very strange, but they're letting him pitch 3 innings, half measures. Cole's the next guy at 25.7% down from his career number. Of course, DeGrom in a small sample, just 25%. But the swinging strikes were there. He looked pretty good in his first outing. Felt pretty good about him. You mentioned Brant Herter. Are you talking about Herter? He's got a 25% K rate, but I believe he's just basically bullpen. We're not talking about him. All right. Morton's the next guy. There's no amazing strikeout pitcher, although we did get a bump in Ks of late with Musgrove. We did talk about that. And Waka, I think he gets a bump because he faces a really rough San Fran lineup.
Let's give the people the last thing that the people I usually like from you. Did we check umpire?
So you were talking about Tim doing his multitasking in chat. One of the things he did is
guess who's got the extreme pitcher?
It's Verlander, right?
My salary saver write-up of the day for pitcher, Justin Verlander.
But you don't feel good about it.
No, I don't.
Yeah. And nor should you. But like if ever there's a team,
and everybody everybody on Scores and Odds is betting the under 5.5 strikeouts for Verlander.
If he struggles versus the Angels, like Houston, I don't know what their options are for playoff, pitchers and all that kind of stuff, or rotation wise. But maybe don't start him. Maybe don't start Verlander in the playoffs. I know he's a future Hall of Famer and all that, and he's done great things for the franchise, but he's been horrific. Extreme hitters umpire for Kyle Gibson, Charlie Morton, Belozo, Peterson, Lively, Sanchez. Extreme pitchers umpire for Tyler Anderson, Verlander, and that Baltimore game. Let's see, Baltimore
Burnsy.
taking on Detroit.
Burnsy.
All right. Skeens. Yeah, Captain America is like trying to sell me on Skeens. Yeah, Skeens is awesome. He's spectacular. I don't do the voting, man. Like, I don't know who I would vote for. He's probably going to have the best career, assuming he stays healthy. Actually, there's a lot of good rookies.
He has like what card would you want, like, to find an auto, like card for this?
Oh, probably Skeens. Yeah.
Like, okay, he should be the winner then. Like, that's how they should.
Well, I mean, that's not how it works, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Currently, it looks like it's going to be Jackson Merrill, who I think you should have a good career as well. But that's where we're at. We got Merrill, and there's still a chance Skeens catches him. I just don't know how much they let him pitch. And like, are they really going to pitch him just to kind of get him Rookie of the Year? Maybe. I'm not sure. But Pittsburgh's going nowhere as well. All right. Going to talk about some stacks in just a second. We did get some more lineups. Baltimore's out. Slater is in there. Henderson, Slater, Rushman. Running out 2 catchers because Rushman is doing the catching. Santander, Rivera, Kauser, the 2K cheapie, Mayo's in there, Holiday left on left, and McCann, historically the lefty matcher. So Steve Nash is getting the MVP over Shaq. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's a fair comp, possibly. Look, man, I don't do the voting, but yeah, I'm just telling you the numbers. We did get San Diego as well. Arise leading off. Tatis, Profar, Machado, Merrill, Bogarts, Solano, Cronenworth, Higashioka. Okay, more lineups are coming on through. Do want to mention, you want to get access to RG Premium. If you want NFL specifically, $15 off for NFL Premium. You want the goods. You want everything: football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, MMA, everything with the exception of NASCAR. Commit to 6 months. You get $250 off the top, as opposed to going month by month. And if 6 months not for you, 1 month. You want 1 month? You get yourself $40 off the top for 1 month. 3 days. Time the 3 days correctly. 3 days, $19 and change. If you're messing with SimLabs, if you're not aware, you like to make lineups in your phone. SimLabs mobile. The app is good to go. If you're not aware, the expert DFS lineup generation tool from RotoGrinders, from Fantasy Labs, known as SimLabs. It got even better with the addition to the desktop tool on the web. You can now download SimLabs mobile app from your app store and use the power of DFS simulations in the palm of your hand. Available for combo and single sports subs, or you can just buy it a la carte in the app store. All right, so I was going through a lot of new shows and a lot of new movies kind of dropped. I feel like we had a lull, Kirkwood. There's been that kind of a lull as far as like, oh, there's really no movies. There's nothing to get excited about. But my queues are like fill up with all different shows on different on the Hulu, on the Netflix, Max, everything. Right.
So you're on a lull, and yeah, I've like been adamant that you need to watch something over and over and over again.
What do I need to watch?
The Adam Sandler special on Netflix.
That's right. I will watch it one of these days. I will watch the Adam. You got to remind me. You got to remind me of that. I forgot. You keep recommending it, and I keep forgetting that you keep recommending it. But I did see Adam Sandler do stand up many years ago. He's fine. But you know,
forget all of that.
This is the best he's ever done in 2024.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I like some of his movies, but yeah. So my queues are just overwhelmed, and it's great because we have more sports coming, basketball, hockey coming. We will have a little bit of a break, and maybe we'll knock out. We'll finally catch up on some of this stuff. But what I did is I power ranked, and chat tell me what is currently in your queue, like your Netflix, Amazon, Max, Hulu, whatever it is that you want to watch. If not, you got to. The first thing you're firing up when you have a moment to watch some television or something streaming, because that's what I power ranked today. The 5 things, well, not 5 because the last one's it's in my queue, but I'm probably not going to watch it. Basically, what I'm getting at. In any event, I gotta find what I sent to producer Steve. Did you have anything right now in your queue that you're looking forward to watch?
No.
Oh,
got nothing. I just bet every night.
Are you watching like Blue's Clues with the child? Is that what's going on?
I'll take any recommendation. Like I've gone through everything. It seems like on Disney Plus, but like our go-tos, and I'm a big fan of Toy Story. Toy Stories are great. And
I've seen the third one,
and then The Incredibles I like too.
I saw that as well. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, and you're grading in a somewhat different scale, but it's good for adults as well, right?
Correct. It's like you got it's got to be watchable at least, you know. And my kid loves Moana.
That's The Rock, right?
Yeah, Rock's in it.
I know Grant's a big fan of that. He talked to me about that once, and yeah, that's how I knew that. But let's see, producer
He probably
Steve
has a crush on Moana.
Well, I don't know who that is.
Ask him. I bet he does.
Okay, it's a cartoon though, right? Not that there's anything wrong with it. whatever Grant's into. I think he likes cartoons. Anyways, oh yeah, producer Steve is he did see the board. He knows the board. He said Only Murders in the Building, new season, that's on the list. Yeah, season 4, spectacular, fun show. Captain America, looking forward to the new Star Trek Picard. I've not watched any of the Star Trek, but I'm sure people love that. Tulsa King, that's the Sly Stallone show on Paramount. I've not seen it, but I know people enjoy it. Civil War just dropped on Max. That did not make the board, but that is in my queue. That's supposed to be pretty good.
Wow, what's that?
It's a new movie. It just came out. Is it Michelle Williams? I think. I think she's in it, but that's supposed to be pretty good and worth throwing in the queue. But I had a whole bunch to pick from because again, my queues right now are overwhelmed. And let's go ahead and reveal the board now. Things that I'm most looking forward to watching. I don't know if you know this, but the Penguin was supposed to drop this weekend, but Max pulled a fast one on us and dropped it Thursday night. Which have you seen this? Maybe we can get producer Steve to show us. Do you know who's starring in the Penguin by chance, Kirkwood?
I saw it and I saw the preview and I was like, oh, that looks okay. Because it was
You'll
on
never
Amazon,
guess who
right?
it is by the picture.
It was last night during the football game they did it, right?
Yes. But I'm saying if you don't know who's starring in it, if we can somehow get a picture of a screenshot of it or a visual, there's a lot of makeup going on, so you would not guess who it actually is. But it looks awesome. Like supposedly critics are thinking it's spectacular. And there you go. Who do you think that is? Who does that look like to you?
Colin Farrell.
Well, you have the Google. You just answered that way too quickly, Kirkwood. You very clearly
that's
Googled
exactly what popped into my head when I looked at it.
Okay, you answered that basically simultaneously, but okay, fair enough. Yeah, looking forward to the
Richard
Penguin.
Nixon. That's pretty funny, Richard Nixon.
That's I mean, I would not have guessed that's Colin Farrell. Only Murders in the Building did make the board for me. Rebel Ridge, new movie on Netflix. I know it's like the top 10 right now. I've seen that pop up, and I've heard it's pretty good. I've not seen it just yet, and the director directed a movie I love called Blue Ruin.
Wow, you put Sausage Party down low? That's interesting.
Well, because that just feels like it's going to be a lot of fun. Have you seen Sausage Party, the movie? Yeah, I'm assuming you have, with Seth Rogen. He's behind it.
I'm not a big Sausage Party guy.
It's bonkers, man. It is worthwhile. It's hilarious and wild, and it's just nuts.
So where do I watch that?
It's on Amazon. It's a TV show. It's like an 8-episode show. Like they turned the movie into a show, and I assume it's wild.
Oh, why is Hernandez? That's what I want to watch. Is it Hernandez? Why
well,
is that on the bottom?
It's too soon. I think it's too. I don't think I'm ready for it.
It's not too soon.
I was just thinking about. It's probably depressing.
I was just thinking back to about the time when I won a fantasy league because of Aaron Hernandez, and it was they were just so electric with Gronk and Hernandez together. No, it's plenty of time now. Plenty of time.
I know it's from FX, and they recently did that the Clipper show which was
were they
trying to be funny there? Was it trying to be funny? Because it was funny.
I kind of wanted to watch that, and after I turned it on one episode, I was like, no thanks. And like, you know what I didn't like? I didn't like the Lakers too much with even though with like John C. Reilly, I thought that show
the HBO show, Winning Time. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, Winning Time. I just thought it was like average. Like,
I enjoyed
it.
Yeah, Clipped was there was
like,
some moments
I didn't like the actor who
like
played
weird.
Magic. I didn't like Magic, so it was tough to.
I thought he looked like him about as well as you can do. I thought they did a pretty good job casting wise. Clipped did not do a great job casting wise for the most part. Some of it's the Blake Griffin one, Bart Simpson, at least you tried. Yeah, but by the way, there are several people in the chat saying they want to see the new Penguin. Monster said the Sausage Party movie was better. The show was okay. Yeah. I don't know what to expect, but I feel like it's probably.
I would love to be Chunk the Deuce and not have seen Dexter before.
Say it again.
Chunk the Deuce, chat member, potential Juggalo Nation, potential.
Yeah.
He's watching Dexter now, and I would love to have never seen Dexter to have something like that to get into.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody said the first 4 seasons or so, especially.
I mean, yeah, the end, the last,
let's not spoil it.
And then the spinoff or whatever that shot like.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that either.
There's a prequel coming out too at the end of the year. I don't know that. I think there's 2 Dexters coming out now, but there's at least one that's like a prequel coming out on Showtime. So if you like Dexter,
see with a great comment. I was actually wondering if the Hernandez story was going to have anything about a sausage party. I was actually wondering. I said I was wondering that.
Were you wondering that?
I really swear to God I was.
All right. So yeah, there's lots of stuff to watch when you're not watching the sports. And Mr. Gerg's got my back. He says Blue Ruin was absolutely fantastic. I did not think anyone else watched it. Yeah, me either. I've never heard anybody talk about Blue Ruin, but it is an excellent movie. If you like a revenge movie, it's kind of a slow burn. Just a spectacular. You got the patience for it. It is spectacular. Okay. Lots of games to get into. First game here is Detroit and Baltimore. Corbin Burns taking on the combination of Tyler Holton and presumably Herter to piggyback afterwards. 8 total. Baltimore is the favorite here, -160. Detroit has everything to play for. What do we have as far as Detroit and Baltimore? Where are we throwing them on the board?
Not very high. Burns has not been great like recently at all. He was good in his last start, I think. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he in the same matchup against Detroit, he had 7 Ks, had a great outing. Has struggled before that, but I don't like. So I'm kind of out on Detroit. I think this is going to be a competitive, low-scoring game. I think Detroit's
That's
going
kind
to
of what I
throw
expect too.
everything but the kitchen sink at it, and Burns will probably be pretty good. So I don't have it. Yeah, whatever, wherever you want to put him. I think the middle is going to be, unless we're grading on a curve across the board. Like I think I'd put them both at Sausage Party, but maybe you could put them. I put them both at Sausage Party.
Yeah, and you say wherever I want to put them. You are the analyst. I am the host, sir. Like it's every once in a while I'll
you're
chime
an
in.
analyst. You were both. You wear many hats, Dean.
But then we're just fighting. Then who breaks the tie? Producer Steve. I suppose that's how that goes.
There it is. Sometimes
Okay.
I need to be held in check, or I'll like go all in on this Edward Cabrera or something in a horrible spot. You know.
I'm good with both those teams being there, with Detroit and Baltimore in Sausage Party. Minnesota, Boston, talk about not the best weather, but Fitz is probably one of the weakest pitchers taking the bump tonight. Minnesota locked in for 9. Curious if anything changed there in Weather Edge. And
I don't think he's one of the weakest pitchers.
You don't think so? You don't think he's like bottom 10?
I think he's okay. I think he's pretty good. I think.
Have you seen? Look at the pitchers we ran off. Crochet's better, DeGrom's better, Sanchez is better.
Yes,
better,
yes, but he's not. I would not. The way you said that made it sound like he's like Black or below or Bozo level. No, and I think he's actually better. Though the stats mean nothing after 2 starts with his 9.5% K rate. That means nothing right
it's
now.
Not good.
No, but it means absolutely nothing. I think with his repertoire and going in and like reading out as a Red Sox prospect and stuff, he came over in the Verdugo trade. I think he's okay. I think he's going to be like an average pitcher. And I would put him like up. I wouldn't put him in that same category. That's just me. So I wanted to say that. But I do like the Twins. I would like them a lot if this weather is really starting to scare me. It's cold. It's kind of windy, and you feel the wind, and it's 11 miles per hour blowing back towards home. So this is not ideal hitting temperature and conditions for Fenway Park.
27% hitting homers according to Weather Edge. Weather Edge is free. If you guys are not aware, I just went ahead and dropped it in chat. Look at that. Confirm. What we're looking at here, 61 degrees, winds blowing in. It's 13 miles per hour, and the dew is 58. So where are we throwing Boston and Minnesota on the board?
Minnesota, are we going to have anyone in Penguin? Yeah, I would put them there.
Probably.
I don't want them in. I do not want Minnesota. That's good, as long as we get some other teams into the Penguin. Because if we're grading on curves here, I don't want Minnesota at the top. After the weather now.
Anybody in a spot, but I think we're going to get a couple up top. We might get one right now. I think there's a chance we might get one right now. Charlie Morton taking on Valente Veloso. That's the Braves in Miami. We have the return of Ozzy Albies. Ozzy Albies is back. He had 2 rehab starts. He had multiple hits in both games. He did bang out a homer as well. So I just assume he's like fine and good to go, at least in a small sample. That lineup does look better. Of course, they're still without, obviously, the better Acuna. They're still without Riley. This is the best they can do these days. We mentioned Beloso being one of the weaker pitchers. Not a great ballpark there. Significant downgrade when it comes to Atlanta. Jump into what do you got, Steve?
The what Acuna?
Yeah. The fact that he has the balls to just run that by us, like we're not listening.
I forgot. Yeah, the weaker Acuna, the one that went to 40-70 last year. Is that what he went? 40-70? I think he went 40-70 last year.
The injury-prone guy who can't stay healthy?
I mean, basically, we're looking at a guy with a 532 WOBA and a 500 ISO right now against left-handed pitching.
I was in the building when Acuna tore his ACL in Marlins Park a couple years ago. So now you put that on me. It was during Jazz. Remember Jazz Chisholm? He was playing for Miami. Remember that happened? I'm old enough to remember. So yeah, he had a ball down the right field, and it was an inside the park homer because we had a torn ACL situation. It was brutal. Luis Aniel is younger. That is true. So he's got a chance, I suppose, to catch up to Ronald. In any event, I think the Braves are, and this is where producer Steve put him in Penguin, because Beloso is a 5.3 Sierra in a small sample. Mega fly balls, tons of fly balls, biggest second biggest fly ball rate on the slate. Number one is our boy Verlander. Yeah, he's given up almost 2 homers per 9 at 12.2% homer to fly ball in Miami. This feels like a spot where Atlanta can bang out 3 pretty quickly. But when was the last time we said Atlanta's going to come through and they did? Doesn't happen very often. But I like the Braves. Are you good keeping Atlanta up in the Penguin?
No, because Christopher Sanchez is actually a really good pitcher. Like, really, really good.
What does Christopher Sanchez have to do with the Braves?
Oh, sorry. I'm just talking about Mets. I thought we were talking about – I was kind of wrong. Sorry. Atlanta Braves love tonight.
Okay, so we agree. And
I was writing Chuck a heartfelt message here, and I got a little –
Well, tell us what are you talking? You're multitasking. You're supposed to give me and you're in the chat your attention, not Chop while you're on the show. What do you think you are, Tim? You can multitask.
Chuck.
Oh, Chuck.
Chunk.
Is
it Chunk or Chunk? It's Chunk.
Oh, it's Chunk.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like the Truffle Shuffle.
Yes, we talked about Goonies the other day. It's been a big week for the Goonies. They came up organically. Marlins are too high though, right? They should not be in Rebel Ridge. I know Charlie Morton.
No.
40.
No, although they've been surprisingly hitting okay recently, but no, absolutely not. Especially, and Morton's been pitching better. No, let's get them down.
In the gutter?
It would be an ownership play, if anything, but yeah, throw them in the gutter. But love Atlanta against Bozo. His numbers against righties are just like ridiculous.
I mean, it's small sample stuff, but
yes,
it's not been good.
It's been horrible.
274 ISO, 364 WOBA against righties. The lefties aren't much better.
So Ozuna, I love Ozuna and Soler.
Double revenge, by the way. Both former Marlins.
You get that's the double home run parlay tonight on FanDuel or whatever that everyone should be playing.
People forget Soler used to play for the Marlins.
A couple of taters. Those are that couple of Tim's taters. If Tim backs those for Tim's taters, let's go. But I'm betting that. I got it. I have to.
Tim takes into account what the actual number is too. He doesn't just give you like from a DFS perspective. He actually bets and puts real American dollars on it. So if it's like 2-1, he's not going to give you that as a
I actually bet and put real American dollars on things too, Dean.
No, I wasn't. I was not insinuating. I was just saying like his taters.
A lot of real American dollars. Go.
I know.
Swing, change hands and all the time.
You wanted to talk about Philadelphia and New York. Peterson taking on Sanchez, 7.5 total. Essentially a coin toss. Philly is the slight favorite here. You were praising Christopher Sanchez. The Mets came through for us yesterday, banged out 4, put up a 10 spot, I believe, on the board. Tougher matchup here today. Walker's done, by the way. Taijuan Walker. That dude's got like a 2.5 homer per 9 at this point. I don't know why they keep rolling him out there, but that's a story for another day. Where do we have the Phillies and the Mets?
All right. So the Mets, it's tough for me because the Mets are the hottest team in baseball right now and just crushing baseballs. So you got to give them a little uptick right now for where they're at, and they're going hard into the playoffs here. But Christopher Sanchez is really, really good. I mean, just look at his ISO numbers. Like first of all, you're in that park, right? They're in New York tonight, right? Yep, in the park, and you're talking about a guy who has what is it, a 0.07 or a 0.09 ISO to each side, to lefties and righties. Like, this is not a guy who gives up a ton of power whatsoever.
0.47 homers per 9. He does not give up home runs, really. Yeah. And half his games are in Philly.
And he's good. He's
tons of ground balls.
Really, really good. So it would be the other side. But I kind of like Peterson tonight as a cheapie if I had to, but you're just hoping that Philly lays an egg. But the Phillies I'd put higher. I'd put them in the Twins category. No, I'd probably leave them both right there in the middle.
Both in the middle. Seattle taking on Texas. 2 good pitchers here. George Kirby taking on Jacob deGrom. At least 70 pitches or so from Jacob deGrom, give or take. How many Ks can he pile up? I don't know. By the way, I'm derailing the show. I probably shouldn't. Did you happen to see a Rosarena's at bat the other day where he kept stepping out? Do you know what I'm talking about or no? It was amazing.
I didn't see it. I think I saw something on Twitter, but
so the first pitch, he would step out of the box as the pitcher is delivering a pitch. Ball 1. Second pitch, he stepped out of the box as the pitcher is delivering the pitch. Ball 2. Baited him again. Did it again. Ball 3. 3-0 count. 3-0 count. You traditionally take, and the pitcher just grooved one right down the middle. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna shellac this one. He destroyed it. And the announcer was like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen somebody step out of the box, 3 straight times, and it was a 3-0 count. It was just an incredible at bat. Kind of a bad season for Randy Arozarena by his standards, but that was one of the coolest things I've seen at the plate. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyways, Texas, Seattle, not a lot of offense here. 7 total, 2 good pitchers. Where are we putting the Rangers and the Mariners?
All right. 2 kind of lackluster offenses at this point. Kirby's is a pretty good pitcher, so I don't really love Texas tonight whatsoever. And Seattle's fighting for their lives here. And then on the other side, DeGrom is not someone I want to attack. The bullpen I would be fine attacking, but so I'd put them. Yeah, it would be either Sausage Party or right. Yeah, let's put them at Sausage Party, both of them.
That is
put the Mariners down even worse than that.
Yeah, I'm not in on either of these offenses today. If you want to throw them in the bottom of the Marlins, I'm good with that. Angels
want to know
Astros,
the best Diddy Dew Point spot tonight. They want the.
That's not a thing. That's definitely not a thing. You're just making that up.
No, someone wrote that in
well, they're making it up. MC Kid Lad is just making that up. That's not a thing that exists.
And so it's going to be in KC. It's going to be tonight. So
is that on the Weather Edge tool? Yeah, which again is free today. We have Tyler Anderson taking on Justin Verlander. There is a extreme pitchers umpire, if you care about such things. Verlander has been horrific. This Angels team possibly has been worse. He's given up a lot of fly balls, but I think Ward is a really interesting play. We talked about that yesterday. I know Cardi talked about it yesterday. Ward against Kikuchi. That's like a perfect. And nobody else really got him, but there's no Hoppy in this lineup. There's no Moniak for the Angels. It's not good. It's just they can't wait for the season to end and go on vacation or wherever they want to go. But anyways, Verlander and the Astros. I feel pretty good about the Astros offense today. Altuve is back after getting hit on his foot, hitting himself. Catcher-wise, yeah, both catchers are in there. Okay, Diaz and Caratini are both in there for Houston. Where do you have the Astros and the Angels?
What are you laughing at?
Stan made a funny comment in chat. Didn't like my Rosarena story. It was better to see it than I kind of rushed through it and didn't do a good job telling that story, which is fine. But it was
so Verlander's going to get some ownership because of projections tonight. So there is definitely a leverage spot with the Angels, so that the wheels may just unravel at any point with Verlander right now. He's not the same pitcher, but he's okay. So I would put them. I don't like the Angels. Angels lineup is horrific. But I think for the leverage aspect on this slate, you got to put them. Yes, maybe even in the middle. I put them in Sausage Party, but I could be convinced in the middle. And other than that, Tyler Anderson is a good pitcher. He doesn't get enough credit. I mean, to get 10 wins for the Angels this season, that says a lot.
He's got wins. We're doing the wins thing.
I'm just saying in general.
I get your point.
That's all I'm doing. I don't bank on that at all. He has like one of the nastiest changeups in baseball. And he just faced this team. He was pitching a great game. I was sweating this game. He was pitching a great game against the Astros in the last one. And it was so unlucky the way things unraveled for him. So the stats look worse than it is. But I think he's fully capable of shutting down this Houston lineup. So I'll put Houston in the middle at best against. So what is that? What's the middle tier again?
Middle tier is Rebel Ridge.
Rebel Ridge. I don't even know what the hell that is.
I was explaining it, but you weren't listening, which is fine. You were probably answering somebody in chat, I would imagine. By the way, Anderson's been reverse splitsy this year, which is, I think, kind of good because the two best hitters here from Houston. Not that you're afraid of, left on left for Tucker and Alvarez, but, no reason to run away from that. It's basically the point. But ISO versus lefties this year is 211. And that also confirmed last year as well with Tyler Anderson. I think he's just reverse splitsy. No Edmund tonight for the Dodgers. That's kind of a bummer. I liked him a good bit, but I guess the Dodgers lineup just dropped. Derek in chat letting us know. We'll talk about that momentarily. But
Jump Nation, stand up. Sorry, someone asked me to announce it.
Apparently, Jordan has BVP, which again does not surprise me because he crushes lefties, and Tyler Anderson is reverse splitsy. What does Chop have as far as today's algorithm? Did he fire it up for us?
I think he's over baseball right now. He's swimming in college football stats.
He's probably into the college.
He's in the boards like constant, like the message boards about
Houston.
I swear he doesn't know for just for injury news on all like college football teams all the time.
Yeah, there's edges to be had for sure.
He's a grinder.
I'm making it an executive decision. Let's bump Houston up to only murders in the building. I'm bumping them up. San Fran, Kansas City. Let's pick up the pace a little bit here. Waka versus Black. San Fran's two best hitters, Chapman and Fitzgerald, not playing baseball tonight. The Royals, one of the best teams on the board. Some cheap stuff too, right? Also, they're without Renfroe. Renfroe is the guy that's not cracked the lineup, but Melendez is cheap. Pham is cheap. Witt is really expensive, but probably worth it. Possibly worth it. He can certainly be a slate breaker. He looks spectacular. I'm good with Sal Perez also. We mentioned Mason Black being one of the weaker arms on the slate. Our expectations tonight for Kansas City and San Fran, where are we throwing them on the board?
KC, great dew point spot tonight, at least rating on a curve for this slate. Also, Mason Black is horrific if you look at his numbers. Like so far, I know obviously short sample, but this guy wasn't someone to be afraid of anyway coming in. And he has a 454 WOBA, 306 ISO to right-handed pitching. Great weather. Also, KC battling for playoff spot here. So you got to.
They're in it. They're 91%. They're basically in. But yeah,
but they're going full throttle.
They're 6.5 games behind Cleveland, so it's a wild card spot they're looking at, which seems likely. But sure, I guess they want to win. They have motivation to win. If that's the point you're making, they have not locked anything up just yet.
Yeah, they've got their foot on the pedal. Pham is cheap. They're up top for me. Nasty is cheap, batting cleanup. Sal, I mean that top four. I love the top four, and then you get unfortunately
Gurriel's terrible.
Cheap. Yeah.
Speaking of olds, right? I'd rather have Melendez as well. But okay, let's see. Let's move. We have where we put San Fran in the gutter, right? San Fran's in the gutter. That's where they should be. Yeah.
Dog water. 2-week-old dog water. Big dogs, slobbery slob all in there. That's what it is.
We got to get you to power rank different degrees of dog water. That's the next time.
When you have that one dog, there's like some breeds where it's so gross. You could just see like they drink, just see the slobber. Like it's
All right. Arizona.
Phil water I'd drink. I would share with it. I'll drink Phil dog water, but that's different.
I picture what was Cousin Eddie's dog? Remember Cousin Eddie's dog in the vacation movies? Like slobbering all over the place. I don't know, that's what I picture when you mention a slobbering dog. But anyways,
Arizona, a mastiff for sure.
Arizona, Milwaukee, Colin Ray, Zach Gallen, 8.5 is the total. Arizona is the favorite here, -130. Milwaukee did lock up the pennant a couple days ago. Looks like they have their pretty standard lineup there, unless I'm missing something. But eyeballing it looks pretty standard to me. Where do we have Arizona and Milwaukee?
I like Arizona tonight. So, I mean, they're up top for me, or the
up top.
Second level up top. I mean, why not? Is Colin Ray?
It's your call, man. You're the.
Are we scared about Colin Ray? I'll put them in the second. I'll put them in. I don't even know what that is. Only murders in the building. Is that? It sounds something like
you can't be serious. First of all, we talked about this 20 minutes ago. You were here the whole time. Have you heard of Martin Short and Steve Martin? Are you know where these guys?
Oh, that's that show with them.
Selena Gomez. It's really good.
It's on Apple TV. Is it?
No, it's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen it. They're so old that I wasn't interested anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've been around for a while. They're actually touring. They're coming around here.
Is it good? Is it good? Have you watched any of it?
Yes. What do you think this board is? This is like,
well,
these are
you haven't watched them all. You watched them all.
This is season 4, so I've watched the first 3 seasons and I've enjoyed it, and I want to see season 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on the 4th season coming up.
Well, I didn't know that. That's
they're longtime friends. Yeah.
A material change.
I explained this earlier in the show. You must have been chatting.
I could have ran out and checked on Dylan at that point in time because I did that.
That's possible. That's possible. I shouldn't give you a hard time. Okay, let's move on. We still have we have 4 more games to go, so we gotta pick this up here. We got a lot of games, and you got to give some Juggalo bombs as well. Do you have them on the ready? The Juggalo bombs?
I've already. People can guess them. I'm gonna give a pair of knockers like Chop. I'm gonna to Chop.
I hope he's not watching.
They're gonna be Juggalo knockers. Juggalo knockers.
Cleveland, St. Louis, 8 total. Lively versus Gibson. No real big favorite here. Yes, Marcus. I know it's in the middle. I've not. It's currently streaming. There's like 4.
We gotta hurry up. Come on, we gotta hurry up.
Correct. You got to keep us on track. Where are we throwing Cleveland and St. Louis?
Oh boy. I don't like Gibson, but he's not terrible. So, I'd put Cleveland just because it's like a stackable team. So I'll put them in putting them next to Arizona doesn't feel right because I like Arizona so much more. So I'll put them in the middle.
Okay. Then, I would have put them in the second category for what it's worth.
Yeah, I normally would too, but then like I said, I'd have to move Arizona up then. But would be the way that because I don't want them. They're not the equals to me. Okay. But St. Louis, they are dog water. They're gutless as can be. Yeah, sausage party.
Okay, Cleveland and Rebel Ridge, the St. Louis in Sausage Party. Let's go ahead and move on. A few more games to go before crunch time's coming in. Yankees, Oakland. I don't think we have a New York lineup just yet. Cole taking on JT Ginn. Massive ballpark downgrade there in Oakland. Oakland barely with a 3 total taking on Garrett Cole. There is some lefty power lurking, though, in Butler, Blade, and Brown, and, of course, Rooker, Langoliers. So the top 5, there is some power there. Sure, why not? If you want to fire off against Cole, one of the more popular pitchers on the board, where do we have the Yankees and the Athletics?
Yeah, for the power, the Athletics, I put them in Sausage Party. Cole is certainly should be better than they are as an offense, but could see it going sideways. And also the Yankees still may be on hangover after clinching, but yeah, I think that's good where Steve has them.
Yankees in the second tier. You have Oakland in the middle, right? Just because there's some potential power?
Just because of the power. You can put him at Sausage Party.
Oh, but Steve doesn't like Garrett Cole. He's saying Cole is dog water. Probably because he played, in part, because he plays for the Yankees. I'm guessing. I'm speculating. Speaking of dog water, there's going to be no argument here. The White Sox are taking on San Diego. White Sox have a 2.5 team total. Good Lord. That is pathetic. Musgrove has been in a good groove of late. Lots of strikeouts. Crochet on the other end. Sure, he can strike guys out, but for how long? 3 innings? What's the point? Why even have him out there? But that's what they're doing. It's a very sharp organization. Obviously, they're 35 wins in the season. Where do you have the White Sox and the Padres?
White Sox, 2-week-old bull mastiff dog water, big slobbery, disgusting. So they are in the bottom.
Snots. That was the name of the dog on vacation, by the way. Snots was the name. Go ahead. It's a callback.
San Diego, it's Crochet is not someone who I expect them to do much damage, and they probably, but you're not going to get that much length out of them. And then that bullpen, so they're kind of the sneakier stack, I think. Yeah, I'd be torn between Only Murders in the Building or Rebel. I guess we'll go Rebel.
Yeah, it's tricky because you might, if you're winning the game too, you lose the 9th. And you lose the first 3, but you get, 4 innings against that bullpen. So, and it's possible you get the Crochet, of course. It's tough because there's going to be some really good spots later in the game. Colorado, Dodgers 5.5 total, biggest total on the board. Did they switch pitchers on us? Did I miss that? Ryan Brazier is drawing the start here for LA. I
So
believe
it's an
that's
opener?
it's an opener. Is it a bullpen
Yeah.
game? Because I had a different starting pitcher. Who did I have? Justin Wroblewski, and maybe he comes in afterwards. I don't know. I don't think we're rostering any of these pitchers anyway. You're certainly not rostering the opener for LA, but that is of note. There you go. I suppose. Where do you have the Dodgers tonight? Again, biggest total on the board. Colorado, massive downgrade. Kyle Freeland there. I don't really like pick on bullpen games. Dodgers are minus 250 favorites, despite just being a bullpen game because their offense is so good. If you heard about that Ohtani guy, he's pretty good as well. Left on left, who cares? Dodgers, Rockies. What do you got?
Dodgers are up there. Yeah, I'll put them up on top in the Penguin. And I don't have, well, you should have a little interest in going against the Dodgers bullpen, but Colorado is just so anemic away from home that you got to put them down at the bottom.
You got them all at the bottom?
Yeah, but you could leave them at Sausage Party. I don't care.
All right. Think of Steve's doing it. Steve
I'm not playing either in either of those categories tonight. So
let's give the recap really quickly. You have crunch time coming in. After the recap, the people are going to want the Juggalo bombs. So make sure you have those ready as well. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications still. Again, 45 minutes up to lock. Isn't first pitch tonight 7:05? I believe it is 7:05. I do want to confirm. Yeah, 7:05 is first pitch. So 45 minutes until first pitch tonight. The board is as follows. Well, it's now gone away. So I will not do the recap. You guys saw the board. You know what's going on. Crunch time is ready. We got Tasteful Tides, Tim. Oh, wait, no, they want the homers. Let's give them the Juggalo bombs. What do you got?
Only because they're too close in order. And so I have to give Chop credit for the knockers. So I'll call them Juggalo knockers. And we're going to go with Marcelo Zuna and Jorge Soler tonight.
I did want to see several people in chat were talking about BVP for Houston. Alvarez, 3 homers against Tyler Anderson. Yes, Tyler Anderson is reverse splitsy. And I think they mentioned, because I thought I saw they were talking about Tucker as well.
Wow. I'm just seeing now that Cheese loves a pair of Juggalo knockers. Glad to see that. Glad to see that.
Where do you see this? Oh, there it is. Yeah, no crunch time until we get he wants them. He wants them for sure. And there we had to get the picture to confirm.
That's a big see? People doubted it.
I was waiting for that as well. We have Taylor, we have Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, and we have Tasteful Tides doing some hosting, and I'm sure, I would imagine, he's got some taters on layaway. The taters have been on fire. They've been scorching. Let's see if we get another winner. Let's bring your crunch time. What's up, boys? Happy Friday. Tim, the pressure's on. You was just I had to pick up my game. I went 3 for 3 yesterday, so I don't know if you can. I said Reyes.
Yeah.
I said Reyes, and I'm going to quit. I'm retiring because I'll never top that.
Great work, Dean. Great work. I do have one tater that Kirkwood already mentioned. And I thought it was going to be super original, but I'm going to give it out. I'm going to give it out right now, and that's Brendan Donovan plus 750 on FanDuel.
I hit him for 830 the other night against Woodford.
Yeah,
it was a thing of beauty. It was first at bat. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I'm going to take him tonight. So that's my first tater of the night.
I'm in.
Wait, hold on. You said first. You just pulled a Kirkwood. Is there a second one coming, or we're not sure if the second one's coming?
There will be a second one coming later in the show.
Okay. So that did. I didn't want to make any assumptions, but that was the implication there. Chris, anything else before we step aside and make way for crunch time?
No. Excited for NFL. Check out our Tournament Takes pod, our live show that we do now at noon tomorrow, and that's it.
Yeah, on the RotoGrinders feed. That's why you hit the subscribe button. It's yourself, Bobby Gomes, and Noto, I assume.
Yeah, the schedule said Beers Maker is on tomorrow with us, so maybe Noto can't do it tomorrow.
Noto tapped out after 2 weeks. He's like, he can't take it. You and Bobby are too much for him.
Noto actually sends me a message after and was like, "I love doing this pod with you guys." So I would, unless he's like playing me, I would be.
That would be hilarious. Like, what would be the point? That's kind of funny. He probably just genuinely enjoyed it. He just can't make it tomorrow. Anyways, let's step aside. Let's get out of here. Dave Potts, Taylor, and Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides with the Taters, holding it down. It's playing the role of Kevin Roth. I'll go ahead and drop it one more time in chat. Weather Edge is free because of Friday. So if you guys want to take a peek at Weather Edge, one of the fabulous tools at RotoGrinders, I'm going to drop it in 3, 2, 1. And Tim, you're taking over now.
Thank you, Dean. Yeah, welcome to Crunch Time, everybody. We got a awesome slate, 12 games Friday night. We're still grinding some baseball. I've got Taylor Smith with me tonight, and I got Dave Potts also. Taylor, how's it going?
Going well. Glad to be here with you two again on a Friday night, and it is a good slate. There's a lot of pitching, so I'm not sure about one pitcher that looks like he's going to be somewhat chalky. I think we might agree on shaky chalk at best, but looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, definitely some interesting pitching and hitting decisions. Dave, how are you? What are your overall thoughts on the slate tonight?
Yeah, it's really good. Like I think we have a very big top tier of pitchers and top tier of hitters where it kind of has to get spread out, and there's no like super definite best answer. So I like it.
Yeah. Dave, why don't you start us off with some pitcher takes, covering any big differences on FanDuel that you've noticed also?
Yeah. Essentially, so I have basically 7 pitchers in my primary pool, and they're all above $8,000 on DraftKings, and all above 8,500, I think, on FanDuel. So I'm not going cheap at all, period. End of story. The only like truly cheap pitchers on the slate are truly bad. And then the guys who are getting called cheap, like in the 7K range on DraftKings, just aren't actually cheap. Like they're just a couple bucks below the pitchers that I like. For me, Joe Musgrove is the SP1. That's who I would play in cash on both sites. He's been great, and he's facing the White Sox. That's good enough for me. Garrett Cole is my number 2. Maybe he gives up a couple homers, but I think he's got more upside than downside. So ideally, Cole Musgrove is my pairing, with a definite preference for Musgrove on FanDuel, where he's 500 cheaper. Zach Gallen and Corbin Burns are a little more expensive on DK, with Gallen being priced down on FanDuel. I have almost no Burns. Like, I think he's fine. I think he'll be fine tonight, but I don't think he's better than the guys who are a little cheaper. I do like Gallen a good bit on FanDuel at 9,400. Like, he's also kind of got the strikeouts going again, so I'm good with him. And then on DK, Charlie Morton, Michael Wacha, and 75-ish pitches of Jacob deGrom are all in my pool. And there's quite a few lineups where going from Musgrove or Cole down to like just the $500 to Morton, or the $700 or $800 to deGrom or Wacha makes all the difference in my lineups, and I'm fine with that. I think the other guy that needs to be discussed is Justin Verlander, 7,800, and that's where I talk about, like, he's not cheap. Like, it seems like, oh, he's cheaper because he's under 8K. He's 7,800, so he's essentially the same price as these other guys. I do not think he is as bad as he's looked these last 5 starts, but he's also not good anymore. Like, he's just a dude throwing strikes, and that's fine against the Angels. Like, he'll probably go 5 innings and give up 2 runs with like 4 strikeouts, which is fine. But like, that's fine if you're cheap. It's not really fine if you're essentially the same price as all these other guys. So I don't have any Verlander. I wouldn't yell at you if you did. Certainly wouldn't yell at you if you were playing him instead of Michael Wacha, which I'm doing. But once you get below that, like, they're just not good pitchers, and they're not all that cheap. So I don't see any need to mess around with anything else.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if you mentioned this or not, but what are your thoughts on DeGrom?
Yeah, so I think he'll get 75 pitches, which that's 5 innings of elite DeGrom with like 7 strikeouts. I like him a pretty good amount. Because I don't really think it's super likely that we get some massive ceiling game anywhere. So I think just getting your 18 to 20 DeGrom points, which he can do on 75 pitches, is totally fine at that price.
Yep. Taylor, what do you think? What are your thoughts on pitching tonight?
Yeah, I'm taking the same approach with Verlander, fading him completely. Obviously a great spot at home against the Angels. They are extra bad tonight. But I just don't really know where the ceiling's coming from with him. The strikeouts, I think, are under 20% for the season. He was trending that way last year, so it's not like this is necessarily a small sample blip on the radar. He's just 41.
And the dude's 13% strikeout since coming off the IL. I mean, that's that's unbelievable. That's Antonio Senzatella level.
He's been off the IL for quite a while too, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's 6 starts.
Yeah, I was going to say like 5 or 6 starts. Yeah.
So it's not a scary fade necessarily. Like the matchup's good, and maybe he'll turn back the clock, but I'm willing to bet against it, especially on this slate. It's not like last night where it was kind of Kikuchi and then nothing else. There are ample alternatives on this slate. So I'm getting to Cole a lot, Musgrove, just like everybody else. I think I'm pivoting most of that Verlander ownership to DeGrom directly in the same range. I understand the potentially limited ceiling, but again, I think DeGrom in 75 pitches is fully capable of blowing the doors off of 100 pitches of Verlander at this stage of his career. So that's kind of the decision I'm making. I do have interest in pretty much everybody else. Christopher Sanchez, Mets have been good against lefties, but he's very good at limiting power. It is a great part for doing that as well. He's also 83, so in the Verlander range, I'm willing to look his way. Gallen, I like quite a bit. Burns, I have a bit. I do think he's overpriced for who he is now, but again, I'm willing to take the shot. There are strikeouts in the Tigers lineup, so I think he's okay. Festa and Peterson are fringier options. I'm not getting to Morton a ton. I'm just getting more DeGrom and Sanchez in that range, but I don't think you're wrong if you want to pick on the Marlins, of course.
Sounds good. All right, let's talk some stacks. But first, I want to do a little background stuff for RG. NFL Premium is on sale. Get your first month of NFL Premium for $15 off. You can also get yourself a 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99. That's a savings of $250 instead of buying 6 individual months of combo premium. If you're not a fan of commitment, you could get a month of RG combo premium for $120. Those that want a test run before buying can dip their toes in the water with our 3-day pass at $19.99. Check the links in our description for more info. Dave, give me some stacks that you like tonight.
It's about as big a top tier as with the pitching, and I don't have a lot of separation between any of them. I will say, like, if you read the musings earlier, I've downgraded the Twins a little bit. Like the hitting weather is it's kind of the worst thing on the slate. They're still right there with the Royals and Dodgers as my favorite teams, but I'm a little less gung-ho on Minnesota as I was to start. So Dodgers, Twins, Royals, Braves, I would say, are the top 4. You could have, though, 10 other teams in there. The teams that are really close to that for me are the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and then another little gap to the Orioles and the Angels and the Yankees. We're still waiting on a Yankees lineup, and I just hopefully we'll get it before the end of the show. I think Soto's going to sit tonight, and so it's kind of a big deal to wait for that lineup. Just be aware, if we don't get that before lock and you're playing Soto, make sure you're staying awake on that because he's questionable at best.
Yeah, I'm leaning with you that Soto will be out tonight. Taylor, what are your thoughts on stacks?
Yeah, it's pretty spread out for me too. I think the Braves would be at the top against that guy pitching for Miami.
Which guy?
Belozo.
Belozo.
Yeah, I think Arizona is a very good stack against Colin Ray. Good part for them. Ray against lefties in particular, not good. Tyler Anderson has been very annoying all season to pick on, but I'm going back to the well, I think, with Houston. Reverse splits lefty. Their lefties hit lefties well. A pretty good spot for Tucker and Alvarez in particular. After that, it's very kind of whatever you want to do. I think the Phillies against Peterson are somewhat intriguing. Wide split lefty, not a good part for power, but it is a good offense overall. I have interest in Cleveland against Kyle Gibson. I'm not scared to stack against him, particularly the big lefties for the Guardians. I'm with Dave on the Padres and the Yankees. Obviously, the Dodgers against Freeland. Doesn't seem like they're going to be super popular with everyone paying up for pitching, but I think they had a guy with 81 fantasy points yesterday, so I think that's always worth trying out.
Is that a lot? If you're new here, is that a lot?
It's a little bit. He's like Nikola Jokic, I guess you could compare him to. If Nikola Jokic played baseball, but not bad, I would say.
That has to be the greatest fantasy game of all time, right? I mean,
I was wondering if anyone's ever. It's hard to imagine anyone's ever. I don't think anyone has hit 3 homers and stolen 2 bases in a game in ever. So it's kind of up there by default.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought the Guardians because my next and final tater is Josh Naylor at plus 600 on FanDuel. So that is my second and last tater of the night. Cheese. Let's go position by position, starting at catcher.
So every position has some stuff to really like. At catcher, I love Will Smith and Sal Perez. Like those 2 guys are very worth spending up for, and they're not. I mean, they're under 5K, and I think they're both very playable on FanDuel as well. Also, certainly fine with like some Austin Wells or Rutschman, Real Muto. Like it's all fine, but basically Perez and Smith are the spend ups I'm using outside of stacks. And then to go cheap, I would do Victor Caratini if you needed a cheap cash game play. And then I've got some Matt Thace and Hunter Goodman in tournaments as well.
Sounds good. Taylor, what are your thoughts?
Yep. Like the Sal Perez call, ditto with Real Muto and Will Smith. If you want to go cheaper, I think Bo Naylor is okay as a lefty for Cleveland. Gabby Moreno in the Arizona lineup tonight, pretty cheap also. Cal Raleigh, just because he's Cal Raleigh, even against DeGrom, I think is worth a mention. And that probably does it for catcher for me.
All right, take me to first base, please.
First base, Matt Olson might be the semi-chalk here. Don't mind that one bit. Ohtani is 7,100 on DK, but again, the upside is there, I would say. Sal Perez, you can also play at first base. On the cheap side, I think Kyle Manzardo for Cleveland is fine. Josh Naylor, if you want to spend up. Mark Canha. Never mind. Forget I said Mark Canha.
Too late.
Bryce Harper, even lefty, I think is fine against Peterson as well.
Cheese, what about you at first?
Yeah, the same group. Like it's kind of like pitcher. There's just like a whole bunch of really good plays, but not like you just have to have any of them. I think Josh Naylor is my favorite for the price. And then on DK, Kyle Manzardo, being super cheap. Those guys are definitely my highest owned. And then I've got a pretty even mix of that like 5K range, like Olsen, Walker, Freeman. I don't have Ohtani outside of full stacks. Certainly you're always welcome to play him, but I don't have that salary tonight. That's basically it.
Yeah, I am liking some of these Guardians, maybe not as a full stack, but as one-offs. I like them quite a bit. Cheese, take me to second, please.
Yeah, kind of with what you said there. Like I didn't mention the Guardians and stacks, but as far as like individual bats, they're among my highest owned plays. Yeah, mostly with those 2 first basemen and then Jose Ramirez at third.
I like that a lot.
So second base is like this. The spend ups are not quite as thrilling as they are at other positions, maybe with the exception of Mookie Betts, who you can do on FanDuel at second. Ozzie Albies is back. and he's cheapish on FanDuel, but I don't know. I don't really want to play him in his first game outside of stacks. I would rather do the cheap Michael Massey on FanDuel. On DK, like Marte is super expensive and Altuve is pretty expensive. Those guys are fine, but kind of like with Ohtani, I am just spending up on pitching. So that means I don't play these guys, then I don't play them. So I've got more of that like Michael Massey, Andres Jimenez down to like Brendan Donovan at 33. And even some I've got several spots in a lot of lineups where I have just random 2K guy that I just hope does anything, like Thomas Sagisi, for 2,200, Cardinals guy, Jack Lopez minimum salary, and then a pretty fair amount of Kiki Hernandez for 2,400. I'm also playing him at third some on DraftKings.
Taylor, what about you at second?
Yeah, no new names from me. It's a lot of the same stuff. The two Cardinals, Brendan Donovan and Thomas Sagisi. Perfectly fine. Sagisi. Michael Massey, Jose Altuve, if you want to spend up. Marte is super pricey, so not getting to as much of him. Andres Jimenez, Edmundo Sosa in a Philly stack. Pretty cheap, under 3K on DraftKings. And I guess Jorge Polanco as a one-off, just super cheap, potential power hitter, but it's DeGrom, so don't expect anything good.
All right. Take me to third if you would.
Third base, Jose Ramirez, the guy I'm going to do the most here. Love the Cleveland stack tonight. Nolan Arenado is under 4K if you want to do that. I don't mind St. Louis against Lively. Rafael Devers, another spend on my radar on this slate. Shouldn't be very owned at all, I wouldn't think, against Festa. Other than that, it's kind of only in stack stuff. Alex Bregman, Alec Boehm, Emmanuel Rivera is a punt for Baltimore. I don't mind. Machado, always great. Jazz Chisholm is overpriced, but if he's in the lineup, don't mind that. And Eric Wagaman is 3-1 against Verlander. I think he's decent enough too.
Sounds good. I like it. Take me to short. Oh no, cheese. No, cheese. Do your third, please.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I noticed about third, we don't have a single batter projected double-digit ownership. So I don't think you have to do anything to be different. They're all different. And I think that's right. Like, I think it's like they're all so kind of muddled up in all different price ranges. I just don't think any of them get owned. I definitely want Ramirez if I can get him. Like, he's one of the higher priority spend ups for me. But I also love Jazz, Machado, and Royce Lewis in that sort of 5K range on DraftKings. I've got a few punts really at every position. Wagaman, Kiki Hernandez, Kobe Mayo. On FanDuel, I'm a little less likely to punt where Royce Lewis is only 3,100.
Yep, I like that play quite a bit. Just real quick. The Yankees lineup is out and Soto is batting second. So we speculated incorrectly. But at least
the dude wants to play.
The dude wants to play. Yeah, exactly. Cheese, if you could take me to shortstop, please.
So Bobby Witt. I wanted to say Jose Ramirez is my favorite spend up, but Bobby Witt is my favorite spend up on the slate because I think the gap between him and everyone else at his position is bigger than the gap between all the other top plays and the other people at their positions. It's fine to do a little Gunnar Henderson or Trey Turner as spend up to be very different, but I don't have any outside of full stacks. I think Mason Wynn is my favorite value. I'm playing a little Daniel Schneemann just because he's cheap as well. But I really don't like the position at all outside of Bobby Witt, which is why I'm saying he's my favorite spend up on the slate because it's just a huge gap. The gap. It's a chasm, really.
Yep. Taylor, what are your thoughts at shortstop?
I agree that there's a canyon between Bobby Witt and everyone else, which is kind of wild because shortstop's typically pretty loaded, but on this slate, maybe less so. Do think Mason Wynn is a fine punt, or not punt, but okay value. Zach Neto, I'm getting to a bit against Verlander. Don't mind that. Orlando Arcia as a cheap Brave is fine in stacks. And then really it is just like stacking. Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts is pretty cheap, but not very good. Yeah, it probably does it for short.
Yeah, before you get to the go to the outfield, Taylor, Brenton Doyle has been scratched for the Rockies. So make sure he is out of your lineups if you had any exposure to him. Taylor, outfield, please.
Let's see. So I mentioned the lefties for Houston, Tucker and Alvarez, two of the best spends on the slate against Anderson. Jorge Soler for Atlanta, I'm getting to, along with Michael Harris and Ozuna, of course, in stacks. Tommy Pham leading off for Kansas City. He's leading off is a great for DK. Angel Martinez is a value I'm getting to at 3-2. I've mentioned the Cardinals a bit. Jordan Walker, Brendan Donovan, you can also play here. Lars Nootbaar is only 3,200. And after that, again, largely just stacking Nick Castellanos in the Philly stack. Obviously, the Yankee outfield is great if you can afford it, which is not easy. One-offs like Tatis, Ohtani, and then the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll. The lefties for Arizona look great, so he's the headliner there.
All right, Cheese, what are your thoughts at outfield?
Yeah, a ton of fantastic spend ups. It's kind of like third base where it just has to all spread out the ownership. Like, I don't think you need to avoid any of them at all based on ownership. If I have all the money in the world, I think I'm going Soto now. But it's really close with Soto, Betts, Alvarez, Judge, Carroll. I think that's how I would rank them. And Ohtani. I have essentially the same amount of all those guys, and which is not a lot. And I think that's kind of what the field does. Like, there's just not a way that any of them get super popular. But I am going to go back after the show and add a little more Soto because I didn't play much of him because I didn't know if he was going to play. Taylor named a bunch of good, cheap, and mid-tier names. Like the KC guys are my favorite values, like Melendez, even down to Isbell, I think, along with Pham. I like Taylor Ward a bunch. Andy Pages being in the Dodgers lineup was a surprise, and he's only 2,800. Gives another value to throw in there. I think that's enough to name.
Sounds good. How about you guys think about some home run calls, and I'll do this last ad read, and then we'll take questions from the Discord and YouTube. The expert DFS lineup generation tool from RG and Fantasy Labs, known as SimLabs, just got even better. In addition to the desktop tool on the web, you can now download the SimLabs mobile app from your app store and use the power of DFS simulations in the palm of your hand. Available to combo and single sport subs, or can buy a la carte in the app store. Check it out today. Taylor, give me a couple bombs, like one chalky and one off the board.
Let's see. Chalky, I will take. I assume Kyle Tucker will be somewhat chalky. Off the board a little bit. Let's go with Zach Neto.
Sounds good. I like that one. Cheese, what are your thoughts? Couple home runs.
I would have said Josh Naylor, but since you already did that one, I will swap that to Taylor Ward. And then I'm going to go Manny Machado. And maybe a cheap little Kyle Isbell.
Oh, yeah, that is definitely off the board. So there's been a question in chat a couple times now, and I want to hear both of your guys' thoughts. Cheese, you can go first. Are either one of you guys worried about pitchers getting pulled early, or are we not quite there yet?
Pulled early, no, but I think all the ceilings are limited. So, like, I think all the aces other than DeGrom get their 90 pitches. But I don't think any of them get their 110 that you might get for a ceiling game, which is why I say I'm more okay with DeGrom, because I don't think the 75 pitches is that far off from everyone else now. But no, there's no one that I'm thinking, oh gosh, they're going to pull him like crochet at 3 innings.
Right.
But I just think it's more a matter of squishing the ceiling down a little bit rather than being a huge concern.
Yeah. Taylor, what are your thoughts on this? Has that affected your builds at all?
No, not tonight. I think we still have a week or so left.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's
exactly we got 10 days. So it'll be next week. This will become a big thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Tonight,
I was thinking,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, like, in 5 days, ask us that same question. It's going to be a completely different answer. So I just don't think personally we're there yet. But it's definitely something to think about later on. All right. Cheese, DK, GPP, last piece, Neto, Pena, or Volpe?
I like Neto.
Taylor, FanDuel single entry, bets as part of a mini stack, or JRAM as a one-off?
Bets.
All right. Burns over Cole or Musgrove is foolish for DK Cash. I think the DK Cash pairing, unless you guys really disagree, I would say would be Cole Musgrove, right? Is that?
Yeah, I would say Cole Musgrove, but it's not foolish to play Burns. Like I wouldn't. Foolish is not the word I would use. I would just say I don't think there's any reason to spend that extra money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I would Hernandez. I'm assuming this is Teoscar Hernandez or Soler for cash. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think I would go Hernandez.
Yeah, Dean made a really good point the other night on a show. I was with him.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It was a really, really sharp call. And if I'd listened to him, I would have made a lot more money, but I didn't. Soler's been removed from games early quite a bit lately as a defensive replacement. He's not been getting his full allotment of at-bats. So I would certainly be going with Hernandez, in my opinion, for cash games. DK single entry, I have $2,500 left for my last outfield spot. I have Bregman, Alvarez as a mini. Do I play Dubon, or do y'all like someone else? $2,500 or under. That's on DK. Is there any really, really, really cheap outfielders that anyone likes?
Isbell.
Yeah, that's Isbell.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Dubon with some other Astros either. I slightly prefer Isbell.
Yeah. Who are your guys' favorite overall hitters on the slate, for raw points, both of you?
I like Tucker and Alvarez quite a bit. Guess that's who I would go with, but can't go wrong with Ohtani, obviously.
Bobby Witt, Jose Ramirez.
Yep. Who was my first tater? It was Brendan Donovan. Just trying to scroll higher for more questions. Any new information on Tigers opener for how long? I don't think we really have that information. I think we're just purely speculating unless you guys have heard anything else.
I mean, he's gone. He's a 2-inning guy. There's a conceivable chance he goes to 3 innings, but it has no bearing at all on what happens with Herter. There's no chance of him going 5 innings and ruining Herter. So I wouldn't don't even think about it.
Would either of you play Jose Iglesias as a one-off?
No.
No, it's a really weird thing. He's going all like Luis Arias on us. He's hitting every day, but he's no extra base hit. I don't think he has an extra base hit or a steal in 2 years, but he's getting 2 hits every single day, which is great. But against Sanchez, I just don't love it.
All right. So FanDuel MME contest, Cheese. To fit Hernandez as a one-off, do you mind settling for Adam Frazier as part of a KC stack? or would you play Pham with a one-off like Buxton?
I would Pham with a one-off like Buxton, but I don't. It's pretty close. Like I have a lot of stacks where the last piece of my stack is some nonsense guy like Frazier, just to make everything fit.
Taylor, FanDuel single entry, better one-off, Seth Brown or Yasser Berdusky?
The right answer is probably neither, but I think I would lean with Yasser Berdusky.
Can we possibly go over teams that have something to play for? I know KC is in a wild card push as well as Detroit. Yeah, I mean KC is the obvious one. I mean Houston has not clinched, even though they're probably going to, but they haven't officially clinched.
The Mets.
That's a big game for the Mets.
I mean, essentially, almost nothing has changed. Like almost everyone that's been in it for the last month is still in it. Like even the teams that have, the only team that clinched a division so far is the Brewers. Like even these teams that have clinched, like the Yankees, like they're still very much playing. So like I wouldn't even consider this yet as a factor, unless you considered it 2 months ago as a factor.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that as like something that I'm concerning myself with in my builds. Cheese. This is a good question. Cheese. When are you going to do hockey content?
I don't know. Am I even invited? Do you even need me, Tim?
We could always use Cheese. We could always use you. So you are invited. I'm not even in control, but I'm still.
Yeah, are you in charge of anything to invite me?
No,
I feel like
I'm not. But you're still invited.
We'll see what happens.
I would like to hear both of your guys' answer on this. Cheapest FanDuel pitcher not to get channel caked.
I mean, the right answer is probably Verlander, but he might also get channel caked, so I'm not even saying that with any confidence. Maybe David Festa.
Yeah. I mean, the way that question is worded, the answer is Garrett Crochet. But he has no ceiling for 3 or 4 innings. So kind of funky the way the question is worded. Yeah, really, I think Festa is the lowest that you can realistically go.
I really like Festa, just not on today's slate. Too many good other pitchers. Taylor, thoughts on Devers, Hertz, Abreu, and Isbell? Not really sure what that question means. That's all it says.
Hertz? Is that what that said?
Yeah. Devers, Hertz. Devers, Hertz, Abreu, and Isbell.
I don't know who Abreu is. Is that Willie or Abreu? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Devers looks great. You can always play him. Maybe we can clarify the question.
All right. Sounds like a good idea. Okay. Ozuna or Betts for FanDuel GPP, Taylor?
I would lean Mookie Betts still, but both are great plays.
Cheese. Are you completely full fading Verlander?
Yeah, I have 0.
You have 0, yeah. I mean, I like DeGrom so much more than Verlander, which is so weird because he's gonna pitch, 20 pitches less, projected wise. But yeah, it's very, very strange to say that.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I don't think there's anything terribly wrong with playing Verlander. Like, he probably gets in the realm of a quality start, most likely. I see more downside than upside.
That's what I feel like too, and I think he's going to be pretty popular because he's all over optimals. So, Taylor, FanDuel single entry, Gurriel, Rojas, or Schmidt, Salvatore?
Is that Salvador Perez? Or is there a guy named Salvatore? Yeah, I guess the first one.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Salvatore would be an amazing name.
That's what it is.
I'm going to push to name a grandchild Salvatore.
Well, there you go.
Salvatore, maybe even.
That's even better.
Taylor, one stack to take down tonight's slate. What do you got?
How about the Angels?
I don't mind that. Cheese, what do you think?
I hate that he just said that, but it's the Angels.
I mean, a lot of people ask me about Angels in the YouTube chat, and I'm like, that's completely fine. So, I mean, it's weird to say that about the Angels, but I don't mind that at all.
My next one would be Padres.
Yeah, I like personally, and I really like the Guardians tonight too.
Yeah.
And do you prefer Gurriel Rojas or Schmidt Perez? I think is the question. Yeah, what do you got? Both of you could answer.
Yeah, I think the one with Perez sounds a bit better now.
When there's like a 2v2 and only one good hitter, like really good play out of the four, just do that and don't worry about who the punt is with him. So yeah, get to the Perez side.
Yeah. Wow, that's a fast car.
That's outside Taylor's window.
Yes,
street
it's
racing
always
door.
Fast and the Furious on my street for no apparent reason.
Do you guys like Jazz tonight? Either of you?
Yeah, I don't mind him at all.
Yeah, he's right in that mix of like 5 or 6 third basemen that are all very good plays with upside at low ownership.
Yeah, I would imagine he's going to go extremely low owned. A couple more people are typing away in the live stream chat. We got 5 more minutes before lock. Still waiting on some questions here real quick. Triple revenge stack, Ozuna, Soler, and lefty masher McCain. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on Atlanta? They're not really that high on my list, in my opinion, anyway.
I like them a good amount. I think they're going to be somewhat popular, but not to the point where you have to fade them. So I like them a good bit.
They're one of those teams, like I expect them to score a bunch of runs, but I'm not totally sure that it's DFS relevant. Like maybe Olsen or Ozuna, has a big game. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't love it for DFS, even though I think they're going to score a bunch.
All right. Cheese, Acuna or Rojas at shortstop. I only have $3,500 left, or a better suggestion for a DK large field GPP.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would play Acuna ahead of No, I can't. I would play Rojas. I think maybe Story is a better one-off if it's not connected to any other teammates. I would go Story, then Rojas, then Acuna, but they're all very close.
Taylor, Betts or Soto? They already have Ohtani.
I would probably just play Betts with Ohtani, but pretty good spot to be in either way.
Cheese, Cassis or Pavin Smith for FanDuel single entry? I have Carroll already.
I like Pavin.
Yeah. Taylor, FanDuel single entry, Gunner or Betts?
Betts.
DK single entry, last 2 pieces. Third base, outfield, Machado, Tatis or Jordan Bregman. Cheese.
I mean, those are both super fantastic. I lean towards the Padres guys, but like the Astros, like if it was cash, I would just do the Astros pair. I slightly prefer the Padres in tournaments.
Yeah, so somebody asked about Boston weather. The last update from Roth was scattered light rain during the day, tapers off tonight to just a few raindrops. Temps are chilly and winds are blowing in from left at 15 miles an hour. Bump to starting pitchers. So that is best I can do for you on Boston weather. I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. For day pots, for Taylor Smith, for producer Sosa. I am Tim Buell, and thank you for watching Crunch Time.